What would love do? How would you be being in the presence of love? How would you be being if you were the presence of love? You're about to have an argument with someone. What would love do? Being love and making love out of nothing at all. Have a commitment with your love partner. You make a decision and commit to actually, we're going to make love out of nothing at all. So that's a meditation, making love out of nothing at all. Whenever one partner wants, we agree to make love. That bridge to carry you from the illusion of the personalities into that state, into that kind of shores, deliver you there to the shores of where you are one, always have been, always will be. You make a commitment to yourself, to your love partner, and to the path. The path means that you choose your path, to unravel it as it unfolds, as it happens. You choose the practices that you're going to do and you commit to that. So if you choose to do it 7 times or 21 times or 108 times, that's what you do regardless to what's arising. It's a hardcore yoga practice. You chose to do that, you do it regardless to how you feel. That will transform how you actually feel. Practices are very precise. You want to see is the result. The result is you've got a stronger relationship now. You've got a stronger bond. You are great with each other. You're graceful with each other. You're more demonstrative and loving towards each other. Commitment is to doing the practice. And you did the practice, and then you see how you are, because that transforms how you feel with yourself, with your love partner, with the world. It really is important to stoke up the fire of desire within you. Only you can do that for yourself. We are responsible for our own orgasms or orgasmic expression. We're responsible for our own joy, for our own pleasure. Okay, no one else can give it to us unless we are surrendering to them and just become that scientist and become the observer to see when you withhold, pleasure from yourself, or when you withhold something from the love partner. Your mind is the largest erotic organ. Your largest sexual organ are actually your NO, nitric oxides. They are the inner lining of your blood vessels. They allow the blood flow to go to where they need to go, the genitals. Feminine essence is sound. When we are noticing that we are not in the flow, we need to bring 100% intention to surrender to the journey. So it's all about surrender. Tantra is about surrendering to the journey. It's surrendering control in a way. Because life is like that. We don't know what's going to happen. We do not know when the next thing is going to happen. Being really fully present in the here and now is a training, is the spiritual training. When you notice you're not in the flow, the only person who can bring you into the flow is yourself. It's like it's a choice. It's deciding to go into the flow and kind of deep diving into the flow. You've got to really choose to be in the flow. When you notice you are meandering or going away, or your mind is doing it, oh, I know that, you need to let all that go, to choose to give it up. Give all that you know up, and then really launch yourself and deep dive into what is happening right now in the moment. If we're noticing that we're not present, it is really up to us to bring ourselves completely present into the moment of what's happening. That's the training. That is the spiritual training. It's with everything. You could do that through the breath, through giving up. Giving up in breath in Tantra is about exhaling. That's a good way to coming back. Noticing how you feel. So there's a whole training about not identifying, disidentifying, knowing that I have feelings, I have emotions, I have thoughts, I have body sensations, I have judgments, but this is not who I am. Who I am is that eternal essence, whom I committed to being, that I am this eternal essence that is connected to each and every one. That unity consciousness. That is the illusion, is the separation. The illusion is the mind chatter. That's not who we are. The mind is just an organ pumping thoughts. You can alter how you feel by the actions you take. You do a meditation, you do some dancing, you feel great. When you notice you are off kilter, then come back, use the breath. Don't identify with your identities, but identify with whom you are, which is oneness. And Tantra is about rituals, pujas. Pujas are, high honoring ritual. There is no Tantra without puja. There is no Tantra without mantra. There is no Tantra without yantra. They're all really integral and important. Use rituals as the basic practice. That is the basic practice to take you to the shores of the oneness. Practice authentic Tantra, or if you practice Neo Tantra, either way, if you practice them, you will come back to the center with the left hand and the right hand path. If you start with the ascetic practices of the right hand and the left hand of the sexualized practices, you will come back to the center. The ones on the right were given individual meditations that are to do with more mindfulness, awareness. And the left path was given meditations that involve relationships and interpersonal. So, and using sexual meditations as well. So either way, eventually all these meditations will complete the whole circle. Central to my practices is rituals, honoring rituals. And how you do that, no one can do that for you. We can bring all the flowers and everything, but these are just props. Ultimately is you. It's like for a Jewish family, on a Friday night, you can have a Friday night and you dress up beautifully and you light the candles, and that brings the Shabbat, and you do the invocation of the Shekhinah, the Shekinah, to bring the Shabbat in. For a Sufi, twirling, that is invoking and surrendering the identity in order to be an instrument of the divine. And then, of course, the divine dances the Sufi through the twirling. I request that you will honor yourselves as well. You start dressing up like a real god, goddess. Do that every day of your life. Younger people are now awakening much more naturally. So it's new generations, okay? We may have, the older generations, we may have woken up, in the past after the age of 42. Okay, in the Kabbalah, certainly they refused to teach in the olden days for men who were not over the age of 42. Nowadays, there's a demand, there's a need, there's a request and a demand for people to have these teachings. Younger people are awakening. So yes, these kind of teaching about honoring relationship, divine communion relationships, enlightened relationships, honoring sexual relationships must be taught in schools. Kids nowadays, they come from broken families. They don't know what it looks like to have two parents who behave in a very honoring way to each other. People don't necessarily have role models of honoring, enlightened relationships. They don't know how to have healthy, honoring, sublime, divine communion. They know how to have porn sex. They're desensitizing themselves to all these really essential things that we crave. We crave touch, we crave connection. We pine for what we see on romantic films. And yet this moves us to the core of our being. How to have relationships. That is more important to learn in schools than trigonometry. Later on in life, you might want to have, to learn how to do trigonometry if you're going to pursue a career in NASA. triangulation if you're interested in becoming a surveyor or an architect. But really, relationships and honoring sexuality, most people don't even know how to. Most people don't even know what it feels to honor their body. There's still stigma about self-honoring. Women are more connected to their inner desires because their yoni, their vaginas, they go inwards. Women can connect very easily to their emotionals. They're going inwards. Man need emptiness in order to be able to know itself. In order to create desire, you've got to stoke up desire. It's like stoking up the fire, okay? That fire within. A woman can stoke up her desire by clenching the pelvic floor muscles, by moving her body, by using the breath. She can actually manufacture it. All of us can manufacture it. So it really is about us creating it. The more we create the desire within us, the more we create and manufacture happiness, the more we become happy. That's it. Okay? No one else can do that. If you're lying down in bed like a board, like a stiff board, and you're saying, okay, give me my orgasm, give me my happiness, I'm surrendered, it's never going to happen. But if you use your breath and the movement and you move your pelvis, you will get there much quicker. You need to move your pelvis, okay? When you know how to do that, then you can go into that stillness, that without movement, the orgasms without movement, which the Karezza invites you to cultivate. Start with, you've got to move, you've got to make love to divine, you've got to engage in the latihan, in that you making love to divinity, you making love to the love partner. You at a certain age, now it's the time to start using ejaculatory choice so that you will have more life force energy. Learn to differentiate between ejaculation and orgasm. They're not the same. Honoring the goddess, honoring the Shekhinah is more rewarding. So Shiva's riding the goddess energy is really important. So he takes much pleasure by pleasuring her. The Kabbalah. It is the duty, it's the mitzvah of the man to make love to divinity through his wife. So we need to be really mindful. What we preach and what we live by has to be, in correlation with each other. Okay, so you be the example, you be the demonstration of your work.